Oh, okay. Good to go. I think so. Okay. Alright, well, it starts. I'll see if I can find the article I'm looking for. Uh-oh, Josh. Hey, Jennifer. First. Actually, you were first, Josh. You should probably not, don't compliment yourself too much. But I do appreciate you being first. So, yes. Hey, Mike. What's going on, man? Oh, cool. All right, so I'm going to go and get started. I thought it would take a minute, but not. I just got finished reffing a basketball game, so I'm actually kind of tired, but I'm going to make it work. We're going to do this. Hey, man. So today's show, for lack of a better word, is about how I pick, how we go about picking the houses that we're going to flip. So we're actually kind of in the process of getting on to our next flip. I'm kind of excited about it. It's kind of the target that we're looking for, the target market, the target size home, the target price. And so before I go into it, too deep in terms of what we look for, just know that there's a variety of things that you can look for, there's no set path on how you pick a home that you're going to pick. Just from my experience so far, having done two, I'm kind of going with what worked for us on the second one, and what hasn't really worked for us. Yes, you're fourth, Anna. Hey, what's up? But yeah, so just going off what worked for us versus what didn't work for us, and kind of my thinking behind why we pick the ones that we pick. First things first. Hey, Edie. What do we look for? So whenever we're looking for, I want y'all to know I tried something new. I'm going to turn it around real quick just so y'all can see, because the last couple times I've done this Facebook Live thing, my phone is overheated. So what I did this time was, first I took my case off, hoping that would give it a little bit more breathing room. Second thing I did, I had work watching, you're crazy, is I added a fan. So if you guys can hear, like if you hear wind or something like that, let me know and I'll try to change. Sully, man, what's going on? I'll try to change the angle of the phone so that it's not messed up. T-Beck. Austin, what's going on, man? Anyways, like I said, if you hear wind or something like that, just let me know. That way I'll kind of change the angle of the phone, so hopefully my phone stays cool, it doesn't overheat, and I don't get cut off, and you guys can hear me. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, so what we try to do is, what we picked up from the first flip was that there's a couple standard things that I want to make sure that our flips going forward in the future have. That's as much as possible, some sort of garage. Garages seem to be a pretty big deal for people. Even though the second flip didn't have a garage, we converted the garage. Generally speaking, there needs to be some ability for people to store things that don't go inside their house. So we're going to try to stick to that as much as we can, unless we just find a property that we can't pass on. Second thing is we want to stick to something that has some sort of yard. It may not be a huge yard or any, some massive thing, but there needs to be somewhere where people can play, kids can play, dogs can go to the bathroom, people can sit out. That first flip was a really, really unique property, which we're still holding on to. It doesn't have a garage, it has a carport, and it doesn't have a yard. It kind of has like a side courtyard. So it's a really specific buyer that's going to want to buy that home. So in order to try to make sure that we broaden our horizons to as many people as possible, we want to make sure that it has some sort of storage facility, if not a 2-car garage, at least a 1-car garage, or somewhere where people can store outside things. And then secondly, we wanted to make sure that it has a yard. So those are the two main things that we learned from the first one that we kind of try to transfer a little bit to the second one. Now, the second one made up, even though it didn't have a garage, it really made up for it by the fact that it was right next to a park. And the home, the conversion of the garage, part of the garage was still, there is closed caption. Oh, do I talk too fast? I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if there's closed captions, Edie. I'll try to talk slower. But anyways, that second house had it was right next to a park, and the converted garage still had storage behind the park that we converted. Hey, Claudia. So that's that. Second thing that we try to do, that we try to stick to, is homes that are under $150,000. Oh, okay, you can hear the music. I mean, you are at work, make that money. So we try to stick to homes that are under $150,000, and part of that is tied to the market. Even though, you know, a new report just came out. Yes, everyone likes garages and yards, Josh. New report just came out that the under $150,000 market has actually slowed down, and that the 150 to 250 and the 250 to 500 and the 500 to $1 million have all just had a recent uptick in terms of how fast those homes move. It's still ARV, Jennifer. I'm sorry. Yeah, good question. When I say 150,000, I mean the after renovation value of the home is under $150,000. So there has been a slowdown in the under $150,000 market. I think it was like a 16% slowdown. So I'm actually watching that now. It might be time to move into the 150 to 250 range. Go back to what we did with our first flip, which was we're actually listing it right now at 189,000. So I have to keep an eye on that. But my thinking behind going with under 150,000 is you have a much greater supply of buyers that can afford $150,000 homes. The second part of that is that you also open up your market to investors who are looking for rental properties. Now, another thing and this is kind of part of the reason that I'm going to watch this under $150,000 market closely, is that there's also, for this coming year, because there's been so much construction in the rental, in terms of apartments and stuff like that, the rental supply is starting to go up a little bit, and they're anticipating it going up over the course of this year a little bit. But I'm not really paying too much attention to it in terms of how we decide to pick homes. Is that apartment seekers and house seekers generally are they do overlap a little bit. But there's definitely some distinction between a person who's going to rent an apartment and a person who's going to rent an actual single family home. So I'll be keeping an eye on that for the next 6 months or so to see what happens in the market at 150,000 and under. It may be time, you know, if over the next 6 months that decline continues, and then the uptick in 150 to 250 is still gaining traction. Oil prices continue to go up, so they're going to start hiring, you know, 40 to 75 to $100,000 per year jobs. You know, those are going to allow for people to kind of make the move from 150 to maybe 200 and 200 to 250, 250 to 300, that kind of a thing. So, but for the time being, we're sticking to the $150,000 and under houses. So that's the second thing or the third thing actually, that we kind of try to make sure we stick to. And the last thing that I'm kind of try to keep hold of is staying inside the Beltway. The makeup for the fact that, you know, $150,000 home, generally speaking, the neighborhoods aren't going to be like spectacular. They're going to be average neighborhoods, you know, or not so great neighborhoods. But you can make up for that, at least my opinion is you can make up for that by staying inside the Beltway, because then location becomes a factor. People don't want to drive very far to get to jobs, you know, when they're staying inside the loop. Inside the Beltway loop, that is. And if you can get even closer, you know, closer to the 610 loop, then that's even better, because again, location becomes a prime thing for people who work and live inside of the Beltway. $150,000 homes are in much more supply outside the Beltway, and then on top of that, you're having to deal with the fact that the house is pretty far away, which could be a turnoff. So I'm going to try to stick to homes under 150 inside the Beltway, and with a garage or some sort of storage capacity and a yard. So with all that said, the next house that we're doing kind of matches all those criteria. It's pretty close to 610. Hey, Nikki. That's my sister, y'all. You see, y'all, that's my sister. Thank you for watching. So the house that we're looking at now, which we're going to be kind of like really, I'll be trying to do, I've been trying to do the Facebook Live thing. I'll be trying to do a lot more of that. And so that, I've gotten a lot of feedback, which is really cool, from people who really want to know, how the whole flipping thing works. We did a decent job of that on the second flip, putting it out there for people to see, but I'm going to really make a push. Mary's going to really make a push to make sure that we're putting it out there for everyone to see and watch and follow along with and stuff like that. This next one we're looking at is almost inside 610. It's on the south side of Houston, just outside 610, where they're doing a lot of construction. It's still a developing neighborhood, not that, not the greatest neighborhood, but again, the location is fantastic. It's right outside of 610, probably a 5 to 10 minute drive to downtown Houston. They're redoing the streets over there in terms of the construction. There's a lot of homes that are being redone. The new construction hasn't hit there yet, but the fact that it's getting close, anything inside 610, the 610 loop, within the next 10 years, in my opinion, is just going to be like astronomically priced. There's going to be very few areas inside 610 that aren't going to be really expensive. So to be on the edge of that is pretty. If you can find a decent neighborhood, which this house is in a decent neighborhood. It's not great, but it's in a decent neighborhood. So I'm looking forward to that, seeing how that plays out. Good question, Jennifer. Yeah, I am focused on anything under 150,000. I have a good friend of mine who actually partnered with me on the second flip. He really wants to get into condos. Condos are pretty hard to come by, but if I found one, I would jump on it, because condos are really, really easy to do. Usually there's not a lot involved. Condos usually go 2 bedroom, 2 bath, something like that. Not too much more than that. Relatively cheap and not too hard to fix up. And everyone is always looking for condos, not only for their personal selves, but investors who want to just invest their money. Honey Graham, what's going on? Who want to invest their money in rental properties. Condos are a great avenue for them. So if I came across a condo, I would definitely jump on it. But so far I've done 2 single families, and I'll continue to look for single families in the meantime. But if you find a condo and you know about one, matter of fact, anybody who's watching, if you see a condo out there that looks like it's going to go on sale or something like that, let me know, because I will jump on it. So with that said, the single family market under 150, garage, and all that kind of stuff. Very good question, Michael. What's the average flipping time? Jennifer, I'll answer both of you guys' questions. So Jennifer, what's the average flipping time? Average flipping time really depends on what's going on with the home, which actually brings up a whole nother topic, which is really good. In terms of the actual home, what do I try to avoid? I would try to avoid anything that I know has plumbing issues, severe plumbing issues, because plumbing can cost a whole lot of money. Hey Myron, what's going on, man? You should do it, Honey Graham, for sure. Carpentry classes are awesome. They're really fun. I've taken like half of one, and it was a lot of fun. So on the flipping part, how long it takes really depends on how big the project is. So my first house, I used Fast Track Remodeling, which is a great company. I'm actually going to have them come out and give me a quote for this next flip that we're looking at. They move extremely fast. That house was ended up being about a $25,000 remodel, and they knocked it out probably in about 2 weeks. It might even been less, maybe a week and 7 days or something like that. The biggest part of the renovation is how fast can your guys start. Way more valuable than classes. Way more valuable than classes, Honey Graham, for sure. How fast can they start? If you can get them start quick, then usually it goes pretty fast. The other thing with that is I picked a company because I wanted to learn. Sorry guys, I'm really thirsty because I just got finished running. I'm gonna take this drink. I wanted to learn as much as I could from someone who knew what they were doing, and the Fast Track guys knew what they were doing. They were on top of it. They moved very fast. I literally could have just handed them the keys and walked away, and they would have been done. But they do cost a little bit more. They put a premium on that. They charge a contractor's fee, which is worth it. I mean, it was definitely worth it for the first time around. It would even be worth it this time around. How fast can they start, and how long does it take? My second flip, I went with a different company. They were awesome too. I had a little bit more freedom with what it is I could pick and choose. They moved a little bit slower, but the quality of their work was very, very good. And so that one took about that project. We had to do some foundation work on that home. So with the foundation work and then their time, it took about 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks for them to start. To start and then finish. And so that can really vary depending on what size the project is. I would recommend that if you're new in it, you don't pick a house that has a whole bunch of issues unless you're going to hand it to someone like a Fast Track type of company that you can they will give you a turnkey property on their own timelines because they specialize in it. But that can really vary. Mike, back to your question about what is the biggest factor for buyers. Location or in-home amenities. What factors have I seen that hold the most weight? So, the biggest factor for buyers at this price range is going to be location. I think there's some variation to that, but location, and then the typical things that everybody wants is a nice kitchen, nice bathrooms, and if you do that. If you take care of the kitchen, make the kitchen look good, you take care of the bathrooms, then at this price range, people will love that house. Because, the majority of homes, especially older homes, they're just not going to look like that. You're not going to find a home at $115,000, $120,000 that has a nice kitchen, granite countertops, that has, a nice clean bathroom with a decent vanity, things like that. And if you can put those kind of basic things into a $115,000 home that's near the 610 loop, then you've got a winner. Even if the neighborhood isn't great, because people understand that they're buying into a neighborhood that's not necessarily the best, but they are getting location and they're getting a great house for that price that you won't find in a lot of the homes in the areas that like that. So. At the $150,000 budget, I would say that it's a combination of both, but you really have to focus on making sure that the kitchen looks good and that the bathrooms look decent, and that you're giving them a structurally solid home. So you need to make sure the foundation is right, the roof is good, that the siding is good, and the house is painted, and things like that. And then you will pretty much have a home run, from my experience. The market that we're going into. Yes, it is, Josh. The house that we're going into is going to fall in those lines. It's not a great neighborhood. It's not the worst neighborhood, but they're redoing Martin Luther King Boulevard right there, and the rail line is probably 3 miles away, 2 miles away. So whenever the rail, which is always going to be expanding, that's going to be there, an option for sure. So, and then the other part of your question, Mike, which is, hopefully I answered it. Yeah, the most weight is at this price range is going to make sure the kitchen looks good, the bathrooms look good. When you get into the 150 to 250, then that's still going to be the main concern: kitchens, bathrooms. Then people are going to kind of get into room sizes a little bit. How many rooms? I think it's in the flipping. If you can stay with a 3-2, that's a great place to be. 3 bedrooms, 2 bath. If you can fit in an extra bedroom, like the second flip we ended up being a 4 bedroom, 2 bath. That's an even greater asset to have that extra bedroom. This next flip for us is probably going to be a 3-2, but the 3 bedrooms are really, really large. You could probably turn one into, you know, 2 bedrooms if you really needed to. So I think 3-2, good kitchen, solid bathrooms, yard, storage, inside, you know, close to the loop. I feel like this is a pretty good opportunity we have here that we're going to get into. Myron, appreciate you watching, man. Yeah, so, you know, foundation, well, just good question. He's asking, you know, am I okay with foundation, but plumbing is more of a problem? So plumbing is one of those things, it could not be a problem, but if it is a problem, it could become a huge problem very quickly, because oftentimes plumbing, which obviously runs underneath your slab, if you've got a problem underneath your slab with your plumbing, then you're talking about breaking up your slab to get to the plumbing problem, then having to re-concrete the slab, and that can just be a lot. That can add up extremely quickly. Part of that thing is, whenever you do the foundation, though, most foundation companies will come out and do a hydrostatic test to make sure that whenever they move the foundation, so, you know, if your foundation is off like this, right, and over the course of, let's say, 15 years, when your foundation was like this and your plumbing was running up and all these pipes were going this way and that way or whatever, and then over time it's moved like this, but it's moved really, really slowly, and the pipes and everything were able to move over time with your slab. Well, then they come back and what took 15, 20 years to move 2 inches this way gets reset in a matter of minutes or hours. So now all those pipes that, you know, not only did they move, but the dirt moved, everything moved around them, and then you've just gone and pushed this slab back up. A lot of times those pipes crack, and so that can present a huge plumbing issue. A matter of fact, we had that plumbing issue, and it cost us about, I think it was like $2,500 unexpectedly on the last flip, because we had to, after they redid the foundation, the hydrostatic test failed, and because there was a pipe that was broken, not necessarily from the foundation movement, but it was there, and so we had to basically run new lines for the drainage on the house, and between them digging up underneath the slab, digging new trenches in the yard, $2,500 just like that. So the reason I don't like the plumbing thing is not because it's more expensive, but because it's an unknown. It can become a problem. And so, you know, if you're buying a home and you know it has foundation problems, then you know it. You know it up front. You know it's going to cost you whatever, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. You can put that in your budget. But then if you do the foundation and then you have a plumbing issue on top of that, well, then now you might have to throw in an extra $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 that you didn't plan on, or at least didn't anticipate. But now that I know, you know, if I get into a foundation home, I'm going to basically calculate for an estimate for the possibility of a plumbing issue as best that I can, so that I kind of have a little bit of a buffer. And so with that, hey Henry, thanks for watching, man. So with that in mind, I'm okay with pretty much anything, but plumbing and even electrical can be an issue if you have to rewire a house or something like that. Those things can add up pretty quickly, and those are kind of the unforeseens that you really won't ever know until you actually get into the house. And so those are the kind of issues that you really want to try to avoid whenever you're doing flips. You know, you break down a wall, and then behind the wall you've got knob and tube, or you've got some huge electrical nonsense going on. You would have never seen that until you opened up that wall, but you had to open the wall because you were redoing the bathroom, or you were doing the kitchen, or you were moving a wall or taking down a wall. That can really become, you know, obviously very expensive very quickly, and things that you don't really plan for when you're doing a flip. So outside of that, I'm up for really anything. You know, I know Mary posted that picture some of y'all saw of that house that was basically a trash hole. I don't even know what's called that thing. It looked like a garbage dump, and it was surrounded by 2 garbage dumps. And so I took her by that. She was like, no, you know, I actually wouldn't have had a problem with that home if it wasn't for the 2 neighbors. But that would have been a massive project, probably a $50,000 or $60,000 project, probably would have taken 6 weeks, 7 weeks to do, just because there was so much going on. But I would have been up for it if it weren't for the other homes. And of course, we'd have to get it for the right price. Do you get homeowner title? Yeah. What are the closing costs? Good question, Jennifer. Jennifer's asking about when we purchase in cash, do you get homeowners insurance, title insurance? What are the closing costs? At least itemized. So there's a pretty standard. I'll go down the line. Homeowners insurance, absolutely. Even if it's not cash. If I was doing a hard money loan, they would require that I have insurance on the home, just to protect their money. So if by chance the house caught on fire, lightning struck it, whatever, that their investment would be covered by insurance. For myself, going with cash, absolutely, I get insurance because for the same reason. If it floods, if it whatever happens to it, if that house goes down a blazing fire, then you got to have something to protect your money. So definitely get homeowners insurance. And if you're doing any type of, if you have an investor or if you're doing hard money or you're getting money that's not your own, they will require it. And if they don't, they should require it. And if they don't, you should still get it because you're playing with other people's money. Title insurance. Anytime you buy or sell a home, a titles company, you're going to handle that transaction through a title, through a title company, that title company's job is to provide you with a title policy, which is a title insurance policy, stating that the home is a clear title, and they take it all the way back to the very origination of you know this part, Jennifer. You just went through the whole real estate thing, but they make sure that the title is clear and they provide an insurance policy which you pay for. That price is based on the price of the house. So you will find out that it can change. It's something like basically a $200,000 home is around $1,000 for the title policy, plus or minus some numbers, and depending else whatever else you throw in there. So that can vary a lot, but there's plenty of good title companies out there. You will definitely get in touch with some. If you need some, you can call me. If you need insurance people, you can call me. Let me know if you need those kind of contacts and those kind of connects. And if I don't have any, then I have a great broker and other great realtors that I've kind of built a network with that have good connects to people. So I got you there. So that's definitely an option. Honey Graham, do you guys have a formula for your budget? Ratio of what you spend of what you ape? I think he said spend after that. What is a good spread for a flip? Good question, Hong. I'll get to that in a second. Do you guys have a formula for your budget? Yeah, so the quick answer to that is you try to stay your ARV, which is after renovation value. You want your buy price to be 70% of your ARV minus your renovation costs. That's the basic formula. There's a whole bunch of variation of that based on a lot of factors, but that's kind of generally how you want to stick to. This house that we're going to go into is probably at about it's the buy price and the renovation is going to put us at about 74% of the after renovation value. The buy price and the renovation. That doesn't include other costs that you have to pay, like realtor costs and title costs and stuff like that. But that's the general formula. 70% of the ARV minus the renovation value. The renovation costs. Let me know if that answers your question. What is a good spread for a flip? Hopefully that's the same answer, Hong. Hopefully that's the same answer, Hong. What is a good spread for a flip? 70% of the ARV minus the renovation costs. As you get into higher end things, if you get into $500,000 homes, stuff like that, you have a little bit more flexibility. Obviously, you don't need to go 70% because 70% of $500,000 isn't going to be the same thing as 70% of a $100,000 home. So, yeah, 70. Yes, 70. Apollo, what's going on, man? Appreciate you coming through. Also, what is the time frame for a flip in terms of a buy and sell? Yeah, I always want to keep a Hong, good question on what is the time frame for a flip. The short answer is the faster the better. How can I submit Hong? Josh, what do you want? 70%, 70. What is the time frame? As fast as possible. But it also depends on the scope of the work you're doing. Like my first flip was about 2 weeks on the renovation. Second one was about 2.5, 3 weeks on the renovation. But you know, ideally, as long as I'm not doing a whole bunch of stuff, if I'm not redoing framing, if I'm not putting on a new frame for a roof, you know, things like that, you know, then I would love to keep every renovation under 1 month. That would be the best. If it could be done even faster, then even better. You know, obviously in this business, time is literally money, especially if you're doing hard money or if you're doing investor. Every day that goes by, that's another, you know, percentage you're gonna have to pay somebody to use their money. So the faster the better. Even if it's cash, you want your money back as fast as possible. So you got to get to it. Josh, can you submit Hong? Why are you even here? Hong, stop. Roger, that's my cousin, y'all. Cousin out in Maryland. What's up, man? Oh, actually, I did break your nose. That was kind of messed up too. Breaking your nose and submitting, that's plenty enough. Okay. Yeah, 7-0, Hong. 7-0. Thanks, Apollo. Appreciate you looking, man. Appreciate you watching. If you got any questions, man, please hit me up. Let me know. How long did it take you to sell the second home? I mean, how long was it listed for? So, here's a great example. And this is where you have to be honest about it, right? So, my first flip, we put on the market. We started the renovation in June. And then finished the renovation by July. We put it on the market in July, and I'm still holding on to it. It's still on our books right now, and that's a hard money loan, so it's killing us. So that's June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, 6 months, 7 months. This is February, so that one is killing us. But we learned a lot. I don't care the fact that it's killing us. You know, we're not going to lose all of our fortunes over it. But it was an expensive lesson to learn, the things that we learned from it. We took what we learned from that and went to the second flip, which I think we got it in October and took about 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks to finish. Listed it on a Friday, and we had multiple offers. Actually, we had one offer within 2 hours, and then we had about 3 offers before the end of the day on Friday. We let it run through the weekend to kind of see if we could get some more offers and bring the price up, which ended up happening. So technically it was on the market for 3 days, but we had offers on it after 2 hours on a Friday. So that's the risk. You know, you got one that we're still holding on to, it's still taking forever. We got another one that is that was gone in like a heartbeat. So, but the cool part about the first one was that the first one actually led to the opportunity to do the second one. And so that in and of itself, you know, made it worth the fact that we're still losing money on it, even right now. So what I'm hoping will happen is with this third one, you know, now that we have a little bit more experience, a little bit more understanding of what to look for, what not to look for us, make sure I qualify that, what to look for and what to not look for us. I think we'll hopefully have another winner on this one. But hopefully, you know, the first one, even if it doesn't sell, you know, if I don't get any offers on it in the next probably 2 or 3 weeks, we'll probably decide to go ahead and make it, turn it into a rental. And it should rent fairly well. So we still won't be getting back our money, but at least we won't be losing our money in the way that we're losing it right now. So that's kind of how that works. Yeah, it was great. It was great to have those offers on the game. It was actually quite a relief. I didn't think it would happen that fast. I thought it'd happen, you know, maybe 2 or 3 days. But what's going on, Chasten? Appreciate you watching, man. But it was great. It was great to have that, and to be perfectly honest, it was great to have that those polar opposites. One where we're still holding on, and then one that went in a flash. Because even now, I'm still learning. For having to hold on to this, hold on to this first one. It makes you really think about having an exit strategy on the flips that you pick up. And what's going on, man? And so that's probably the flip part that I didn't talk about in the first video, and so I'll talk about it now. Having an exit strategy on what happens if things go wrong for you on your flip. How do you get out of it? And so you need to have a way to get out of it, whether it's going to be you wanted to buy and sell it, but now the selling isn't happening, so you need to change it into a rental. Or if it doesn't turn into a rental, can you offload it onto someone else, you know, who's willing to pick up a house that's already renovated for less than what its actual value is, such that you can get your money back. So what's going on, Derek? Derek is really big, man. I've been watching your videos. I appreciate you watching. Derek Morrell has a Good Faith Home Buying, really good guy. Know him from Landmark. I know Jennifer. I know you know Derek too. So I appreciate you watching, man. If you have, I know you have a lot of information, so by all means, jump in and say whatever you want. So yeah, so having an exit strategy on your flip is a big deal. You want to have one because you don't want to be stuck. You know, most hard money loans are going to be balloon payment, interest only balloon payment loans, which means that you're going to pay. Let's say you do $100,000 loan. Derek, you can jump in because I know you have. I know you're always looking for investors and stuff like that. But yeah. So hard money loans are often interest only balloon payment loans most times, which means that you're going to pay. Let's say you have a $100,000 loan, and it's a 12% APR, which means that every month you're going to pay them $1,000 on that $100,000 loan. And most of these hard money loan payments are usually 6 month or 1 year or 9 month or 3 month balloon payments. So after 3 months, you've paid them $3,000, and you have to pay them back their total $100,000 loan. So you can be on the hook for $100,000, not have it, then they foreclose on your property. Now you lost your investment and you lost the house. So you know you want to make sure you have an exit strategy on how you're going to get out of whatever it is you're into. How do I intend to scale my business? Good question, Hong. Mainly, what I plan to do is really be active on social media. You know, I've been reading a lot of books about how to make sure that you use social media to your advantage. I'm really big on Gary Vaynerchuk right now. He's probably like my #1 go-to. I got into Grant Cardone for a little bit, but he doesn't really speak to my DNA, so to speak. So I plan on getting active in this, kind of helping. I'm making more connections, and so what I plan on having happen is by the end of the year, I want to be doing 2 to 3 flips at a time, and kind of have that happen as my goal for this year. And then if things go well from there, then kind of scale up from there. I'm really excited about the real estate market. I know you're not, Hong, but I'm really excited about the real estate market over the next 2 years. You know, most projections, I know you're not projecting oil prices to go up, but most projections are showing that oil prices will kind of continue to rise over this year, and then higher will kind of start happening towards the 3rd and 4th quarter of this year. So I think that's going to be a really big opportunity for the housing market to see an increase, even though we're in an increase already. But I think that will provide a lot of opportunities to jump on more homes. I'm also kind of doing a double thing. You know, it's flipping, but it's also just real estate in general, buying and selling homes for other people. Again, I'm going to be really big into social media and be active there. You know, a lot of things have happened for us just in terms of people watching and having questions for us and reaching out to us just over the last, 3 or 4 weeks. And so I'm going to really push for that. And it's actually kind of hard. It's not really it's becoming part of who I'm trying to be as a businessman, but it really doesn't come naturally to me to be so engrossed in the social media side of things. Posting, it just doesn't feel right. It's getting more comfortable for me, but it's extremely hard. So what I'm kind of hoping to do is kind of build a network of people, build a network of an audience, and kind of let that audience create the opportunities that are going to happen for me. And then as that happens, I'll make adjustments. Maybe it'll mean making a team. Maybe it will mean, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But first stage is get social media brand awareness, put it out there, give as much as I can, and then hopefully things will just kind of start to snowball from there. Appreciate you, Derek. How am I sourcing? I am starting to source my own leads, but my first deal was a wholesale deal. Putting that one on Facebook, mainly Facebook, a little bit of YouTube, but mainly Facebook, kind of led to the second opportunity. So the social media aspect kind of sourced our second flip, which ended up being a friend of Mary's that she's known for, worked with for a while. And so she brought her opportunity on the house that she owned to us from that. After that second one, I'm kind of getting into sourcing my own leads. I do need more information. I need to get myself more educated on how to source my leads. I have signs. Thanks, Myron. I appreciate it, man. It's awesome. Oh yeah, for sure. And I got you, man. Myron, hey, just so y'all know, air filters. If you need air filters, Myron has a really cool thing where he will mail your air filters to you when it's time for them to be mailed, and they just show up at your doorstep. A really cool thing. Stroho.com. That's right. STROHO.com. Right, Myron? I'm kind of brain. Sorry, man, but really good stuff. Really cool, man. And he does a lot with giving back to the community. So he's a good guy to support. Really good guy. But yeah, so Derek. So the second one was sourced from the social media aspect. This last one is going to be a wholesale deal from a guy named Sean. You might even know who he is. I know you're big into that. So I've actually looked at a couple that you have. Yeah, Stroho. There we go. STROHO.com. Air filters, and he's going to get into more about the whole house thing on his own. Good guy. So first one was New Western Acquisitions. Second one was social media own sourced. This last one was from a guy named Zach. No, I'm sorry, Zach. Sean was his name. And let's see if I can find it for you real quick. I'll actually get into the wholesaling thing because that's kind of there's a lot to the wholesaling. Revive House Buyers, Derek. Revive House Buyers is who I got it from. Yes. Zavari. Zavari is probably how you say it. Zavari. Yeah. So real quick, guys, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna get out of here because I know it's getting late. I'm tired. Wholesaling is a really big market out there. For those of you that are interested in getting into wholesaling, to the house flipping thing, wholesaling is one way you can do it. Wholesalers, basically what they do is they go out and find the properties, and then they get them under contract, they assign them, or maybe there's other ways you can do it. They can double close, there's a lot of things, but they get an assignment contract, then they put it out there for people like myself or whoever else is looking for a house to flip. They put them on different outlets where you can go and find them, and then they charge a fee that they put on top of the price that they have negotiated with the actual homeowner to sell the home to you. The thing about wholesaling is it's like there's a huge array of the quality of the wholesalers. Some wholesalers are really accurate with their ARV estimations, their construction estimations. those things of that nature. Some of them are off the rocker. They put all kinds of crazy stuff out there. You know, I've seen homes where the ARV is literally like 130, and they'll say that the house is worth 200. They'll say that, you know, it needs $20,000 worth of work when it looks like that house that Mary showed you guys. You know, there's a whole variety of wholesalers. So I have an advantage in the fact that I'm a realtor, because I can actually go and see what the comps really are. I can actually see, you know, what houses have sold and for how much, how long they were on the market, if they were similar in size, how old the homes are. I can see all those things on my own, so I kind of have an edge in that array. Hey Asia, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. So if you're going to get into flipping, you know, I would definitely suggest that you know, in HAR, Zillow, Realtor.com, you can see some of that stuff. You can kind of see how much homes sold for. You may not be able to see all the details that I can see, but at least you can get a good idea of how much homes in the area that a flip is in is actually selling for. So wholesalers are a great avenue to pick up flips. You just really have to be careful about who you get, you know, who you use, and how verifiable and what kind of quality they are as a wholesaling source. Derek is one of the ones. He's very good. He does a really good job. He's very honest and does a good job with his wholesale deals that he puts out. So Derek, you know, Derek, hopefully the opportunity will present itself for me to get something from you, for us to work together. Hopefully that happens. But you just have to be careful. Not all wholesalers are good wholesalers, but not all wholesalers are bad wholesalers. You just got to find the ones that are good. And if you can do that, then you will be on your way. So this is a great little session we had here. 10:47, man, that went pretty long. And my phone didn't crash on me. So this is my new setup. I'm going to have a fan blowing on. I'm going to take my phone cover off until I can get real fancy and buy, like, you know, a camera or something, or a GoPro. I don't know. Whatever I need to make it happen. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any other questions, by all means, email me, John_Pierre at yahoo.com. I'm going to post this on my blog, jpknowsre.com, as well. I'll probably drop it on our YouTube page. I'll put it on Facebook, obviously. So there'll be a lot of opportunities for anybody to, you know, go back and see it. But hey, follow me. You know, check out my blog. I have been a little bit off. I haven't put as much on there as I have normally, but I'm definitely going to start amping that up, ramping that back up, especially as we get into this flip. So jpknowsre.com. And appreciate you guys. If you got anything else, last chance. Any more questions? Going once, going twice. Sold. Bye.